Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, I sure appreciate you stopping in. Guys, today we're going to talk about something that, sadly, I don't want to call it a fad because I think it's got some power to it. But I think one of the big problems with this is it's been promoted as a, let's just call it a industry money grab, if you will, to a certain extent. And boy, it can be devastating. And today what we're talking about, guys, is using scents, right? Let's just label this one, Make It Make Sense. We'd like to take a minute to thank our great partners, Promised Land Tree Service, Scent Thief, Painted Arrow Outdoors, Wicked Feeder Solutions, Bluebird Drones, DLS Outdoors, Jackhammer Mineral, Full Spectrum Products, Harper Growing Solutions, and Cabela's. So when we're talking about using lures, when it comes to the whitetail world, in the whitetail world and in the hunting strategy, I'll start this out, guys. I use when I use it, I use some of the what I feel is the best whitetail lure, if you will, scents from a friend of mine, good gentleman out of mid-Michigan, Mr. Tom Whitty, and Nature's Best. Guys, if you are going to use any deer scents, I highly recommend reaching out to Tom and let him know we sent you if you do talk with him. So with that being said, it's not that I'm against it, right? What I'm against is what's been promoted on how to use it for years and years and years. Over the years, right, we've tried to use synthetics and it just keeps coming back to real, natural product. So let's touch on that, guys. Tom Whitty at Nature's Best Whitetail Scents there in mid-Michigan, and I'm sure there's other companies across the country doing this. What they do, what Tom does, right, is he pan collects. It's hard to believe, but Tom actually pan collects his urine from, let's say, his whitetail does. So I didn't believe it, right, until seeing it and being there a couple times when this was happening and really talking to Tom about this. And he'll be the first one to tell you, it sounds crazy. Tom's got this system down pat, if you will. What he does, guys, is he watches these does when they're in heat, and he knows sometimes they're in heat, standing heat, estrus, let's say, right? Because he's actually, some of them are going into an artificial insemination program, let's say, or something, so they're actually getting a shot that's promoting that heat, or just natural heat cycles that Tom knows that are on record, right? Make a long story short, when he collects this, guys, he's collecting this with a pan, and they are urinating directly into a pan that's on like a 4-foot handle. These deer get up. He's got so many seconds to get there, so many minutes to get there after they're wandering around the pen, and he's pan collecting it. What you don't want to do, guys, is you don't want to purchase stuff that is being collected in a, let's just call it a dairy farm setting where, or a hog facility situation where these deer are on mats and they're urinating and defecating in that same pot, if you will, right? That same collection manure pit. It's not the same. Does it work? Can it work? Maybe. But I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt on all that stuff, right? And I highly recommend, if you're going to use it, reach out to Tom. So with that being said, right, it's not that I'm against it. I'm just, over the years, we've ruled out in and out what works and what doesn't. So the reason I don't use this, guys, and I don't promote it a lot is I think it gets so many people in trouble. And what I mean by that, guys, is it's how we're using it. It's not the product. Once you figure out what to use and what not to use, it's not the product. It's how we're using it. How we're using it is we are believing, right, that this lure that we're putting out is going to draw bucks in from all over, and we are getting to our stand, and we're walking out there to that licking branch, or that mock scrape that you're hunting, and we're dousing it, or we're doing it on the way in to the stand. Guys, if you're walking past a scrape on the way in to your stand, and you have the availability, unless it's on an e-bike or something, right, and you have the chance to stop and freshen up or dose a scrape, you're entering and exiting your farm horribly, horribly wrong, right? It should be a huge red flag. The second part of that is this. If you are getting to the stand, your first and foremost goal, once you get to the base of that tree, should not be to walk out there that other 25 yards and to freshen up or dose a scrape. Guys, that 25-yard window can ruin everything that you have worked for all year. And that hunt, that good cold front, that reason that you're in that stand, right, that maybe you've waited all year to hunt, that 25-yard walk out there can ruin your entire hunt. If you are in a spot where you can get to that scrape without alarming deer, if you can walk out there and do what you need to do, freshening up a scrape, guys, that stand is probably not in the right spot. At that time of the year, you should not be far enough away or outside of good habitat, good structure, good cover, right? You can't pay me enough to walk out anymore and dose that scrape. And why can I tell you that it doesn't work? Because I learned from the school of hard knocks. So I've had great luck using such as like scent drags, right? I've got stories I could tell you, from West Central Illinois. We had a spot one time, I'll share this with you real quick. We had a spot on one of our farms, one of our trophy farms, probably, and this isn't an exaggeration, guys, because I've heard this from multiple people that were bidding against us to try to get this farm. Probably in its prime was probably the best 1,100 acres in the entire country. And we had that opportunity to hunt it, right? There was one stand down there that you couldn't hunt unless it was an east wind, which we hardly ever got, right? But when we did get it, we drove the client to an inside corner of the field, stepped in out of the truck and walked 10 yards into that stand. But what we did, right, when we left and entered it, it was on the edge of an 80-acre alfalfa field, right? What we did, guys, I actually used a scent drag behind a pickup. We did, not myself, but myself and my good friend that I ran the lodge with. We would drag a scent drag behind a half-ton pickup across that thing, and you would be shocked, and tie it off right in front of the stand. You would be shocked on how many bucks were harvested or seen that would come into an 80-acre hayfield and come right exactly to that spot. So, like I said, I'm not against it. It's more about the application and how we're going about it and how we've been told that you can get away with this stuff, right? So, how would I use it, right? So I'm working on a video right now, guys, that it's something that I've been doing for years and years and years, and we'll keep this one short and we'll make it a separate video. But there is certain products, find the right product, like Tom Whitty's at Nature's Best, real stuff, right? Then get to a situation where you're figuring out how to apply it, right? How to use it, guys. Scent drippers, stuff like that is a huge piece of the puzzle, because you don't have to get to that spot during that hunt. So if you can see it coming ahead of time, right? If you can watch the weather, right? And you're really getting amped up to hunt this cold front, and that's the stand that you got to be in, whether it's a west wind, north wind, south wind, whatever that wind is. If you can watch that coming, right? And get in there with a side-by-side, an e-bike, or whatever it is, a day or two ahead of time, and make sure, depending on when, if it's the pre-rut, I wouldn't be using exactly doe urine, right? Maybe just, or estrus, right? Maybe just doe urine. And the next step of that is hanging this, getting in there ahead, right? And hanging a scent dripper or something that's going to be dispensing urine ahead of the time, maybe 24 to 48 hours ahead of time. And the reason for that is, guys, like I said, we'll keep this for the in-depth video that we're going to have coming here, is that doe, right, that important window is only 24 to 48 hours. So if you're just going out there the time that you're hunting it, right, and you're applying it, you have to, we'll close on this one. So there's no pre-game prep, right? No thought process ahead of time. And I don't want you walking out there to that licking branch, and not only the scent factor, but the noise. You're going to get busted, guys. It will shock you on how many times that has ruined a hunt. So what will end this one on, guys, like I said, is using some common sense, making it make sense, like we started, right? If you are sitting in that stand and that scrape is ahead of you and you are on the downwind side of it and you're only 25 yards behind it, how in the world do you think that the majority of the deer, yes, it creates a plume, but your wind is what promotes that scent from that when you're dosing that, right? If it's not just a piece of the puzzle that we promote in this promoted line of travel, right? That they're coming to it time and time and time again, early season, during the summer, the early season, of pre-rut and the rut, and it's just a checkpoint, if you will, right? But if you think you're just going to go out there and hang this urine or this doe urine out in front of you, and the wind is in your face, you're going to smell it. What else is going to smell it, right? You better be in a spot where he cannot get downwind of you, because that's how he's coming into that scrape. What I see, folks, is just relying on that, magical lure, if you will, and not thinking, okay, this wind is in my face. How is he smelling this, or how is this getting to him, right? The fact of the matter is he's probably not. So it's a complete waste of time, and you've just risked so much by getting to that scrape. So a very in-depth video coming this way, guys. We're going to jump to the whiteboard here soon on this one, within a day or two. But I wanted to get this one out to you guys to really, really think about what you're doing when you're walking out to these scrapes. Or are you walking past a scrape on your way to hunt? Huge red flag, right? Or are you getting to your stand and then going out that last 25 yards? Like I said, guys, there's no money in the world that would get me to that spot to walk out there and dose that scrape before I got in that stand. It ain't gonna happen. So if you use that mentality, boy, it'll shock you on how much that stand can produce for you if we are just not boogering it up ourselves, right? And we're not, just trying to put out another magic bean, if you will, and and making it make sense. Make it make sense when it comes to deer lures, guys. I think you'll find that you start using them less, because that scrape, this is in that video we're having coming ahead here, that scrape, guys, is doing your work for you hours upon hours, days upon days ahead of time, right? It's not just throwing scent in it and drawing every buck in the neighborhood to that within a very short window. So let this one sink in, guys. Make sure that if you've got time and you got a cold front coming, get out there and get a mock scrape hung. If you don't have it hung already, it should have been hung months ago. But if you haven't, get out there ahead of time in that pinch, in that funnel, on that whether it's promoted or not line of travel. Get a licking branch hung. Get this cooking for you before you get there, and make it make sense. Thanks, guys.